Marcos was 42 years old, and by that age he had learned to rely only on himself. He lived in Spain, in a suburb of Valencia, where he owned his own logistics and warehouse transportation business. The company was not huge, but it operated steadily, generated a solid income, and allowed Marcos to live without worrying about tomorrow. A two-story house, a well-kept yard, a new car. None of it came easily or by chance. There were no wealthy relatives, no inheritance, and no lucky lottery ticket in his life. In his younger years, he worked himself to exhaustion, often without days off, denying himself many comforts. Only after he felt firm ground beneath his feet did he begin to think about starting a family. He met Julia when he was already a mature man. She was 34, worked as an interior designer, and from the very first day impressed him with her calm nature, femininity, and remarkable ability to create comfort out of nothing. She was beautiful, cooked so well that guests always asked for seconds, and never demanded the impossible from Marcos. Their marriage, which took place 4 years earlier, became a quiet harbor for him. If not for one, but their life together could have been called almost perfect. Julia came from a very large family. Her parents lived modestly in a small town in the south of the country, and besides her, there were 5 more children, 2 older brothers and 3 sisters. Money was always tight in the family. The parents gave their children everything they could, but they simply did not have the means to provide everyone with a good education or a strong start in life. In the end, only one brother, Alejandro, managed to break free. He moved to Canada for work and almost completely stopped communicating with the family. He was often criticized for this, especially by the sisters, who believed that since he was doing well over there, he was obligated to help everyone else. When it became clear that Alejandro was not going to turn himself into the family's financial lifeline, the relatives gradually shifted their attention to Marcos. In Julia's family's eyes, he was a man with money, a large house, and an easy life, while no one wanted to think about the price he had paid to achieve it. At first, the requests were cautious. One of Julia's brothers, Raul, asked Marcos to give him a job at his company. He had neither relevant education nor experience, but he insisted that he would learn quickly. Not wanting to spoil family relations, Marcos agreed and gave him a simple position, hoping that over time Raul would either prove himself or leave on his own. Instead of effort, complaints began. Raul constantly hinted that he earned less than everyone else, that he was not given bonuses, and that his work was not appreciated, despite the fact that his contribution was minimal. He did not want to work seriously, but he also refused to quit, believing that he was owed more. Julia's sisters took a more subtle approach. They regularly invited the couple over and always made sure that Julia did not leave empty-handed. At first, it was food or small household appliances, but later the requests became more blatant: a new microwave, a tablet for a child, help with renovations. When the sisters visited Marcos and Julia's home, the situation became even more uncomfortable. They openly examined Julia's wardrobe and could ask her to give them a dress or a piece of jewelry, hint at a visit to a cosmetologist at Marcos's expense, or suggest going out to an expensive restaurant. Over time, money became part of the problem as well. Both sisters borrowed large sums from the couple, assuring them it would be temporary, but the deadlines for repayment were constantly postponed. Marcos increasingly felt that he was seen not as a family member, but as a convenient resource. The final straw was the relocation issue. One of the sisters, Carmen, together with her husband and 3 children, decided to move to Valencia and announced, without discussion, that they would stay with Marcos until they could get back on their feet. Renting an apartment was beyond their means, and Marcos had a big house, so there would be enough space for everyone. At first, it was presented as a joke, then as an almost settled matter. Marcos avoided giving a direct answer, not wanting arguments and hoping it would remain just talk. But one day he came home and realized the problem had been solved without him. Other people's belongings were scattered around the house, children were running through the rooms, and the adults were discussing which bedroom would suit whom best. Julia stood aside, confused and clearly unprepared for what was happening. At that moment, Marcos understood that this could not continue. He did not start a scandal, but he was not going to tolerate it either. He called the security staff from his company, and within an hour Carmen's entire family was sent back to their hometown. Without shouting, but firmly and decisively. Marcos expected Julia to be angry or offended, but instead she admitted that she felt enormous relief. It turned out that the pressure from her relatives had weighed on her for a long time. She simply did not know how to resist it. The next day, Julia's parents came to visit. They were embarrassed and sincerely apologized, claiming they had no idea their children were behaving so shamelessly. After hearing the whole story, Marcos made a decision that had long been overdue. He said that he no longer intended to support grown adults who refused to take responsibility for their own lives. Family ties were not an excuse to shift personal problems onto others. From that moment on, the era of convenient help ended. Everyone received a clear and firm answer, either independence or distance. And although Marcos understood that his decision might seem harsh to some, for the first time in a long while he felt at peace. His home once again became a place of respect, quiet, and family, real family, not one imposed by force.